Ladies and gentlemen, Investor Talk is back with a mining flash, and I welcome Robert Archer, CEO of Pinnacle Silver and Gold. Bob, always great to see you. And we are now in a phase where the companies need some news, and you had really something exciting to announce. Good to see you.
Likewise, Jan. Good to see you. Good to be back on the show.
Let's directly go to your press release because you start your long-awaited underground drilling. Here's the press release, Bob, and before I ask you what you expect from this, I'd like to make our audience aware of this little gimmick here. It's an AI tool that you have included into your website, and I tried it and it's really useful. But now let's go to your press release. You start with the underground drilling from the historic mines. What do you expect from this program, and why do you start with Pinos Cuatos?
Well, before starting the underground program, we had to prepare the sites underground, the drill stations, because some of the historic workings were too small for the drilling equipment in some places. It was too tight, so we had to enlarge the area, make sure it was large enough to get the equipment in and for the guys to work, and also make sure that the areas were secure and safe. So we had to put up rock bolts and screens and things like that to make sure that everything was secure. So that was a key aspect in the preparations. And admittedly, it did take a little longer than everyone had anticipated, and so there was a little bit of a delay getting started. But safety is a primary concern, so we had to make sure that was everything was done properly. But now that it's started, the underground drilling does several things for us. When you're drilling on surface, especially in an area like this where the topography it's not flat. You're on the side of a small mountain, and so drilling from surface, you're somewhat limited in where you can go, with the topography. And when you're drilling on surface, I mean, you can only drill downwards into the ground. Whereas when you're underground, you have essentially, three dimensions to work with. You can drill holes, at an angle upwards or, off to the side or whatever, just by turning the drill and moving the head around. So it gives you a lot more flexibility. Plus, drilling from surface, if you're drilling close to underground workings, you run the risk of drilling through the workings through an open space, and that's it can be certainly not good for the drilling and for the equipment and so on. So anyways, the underground drilling will be much more effective. We can drill at closer spacing, and it will give us a very good sense of what the mineralized zones look like in terms of their size, continuity, shape, and all that sort of thing, as well as the overall grade.
Bob, I asked you about the Pinos Coates mine because if I'm correct, then this was the historic mine where you recently had really good results, sample results.
Yeah, that's that's correct. It's also a little bit more extensive in terms of the underground workings. So it gave us a good chance to, drill some holes into some very well mineralized material and get a get a good sense of what the mineralized zones actually look like. So, in that way, we'll be doing that and then move from there to areas that are, either less well exposed or not at all in some cases. And so you always try to work from a known to an unknown, because if you do it the other way around, then you really don't know what you're getting into. So it was a good place to start, and certainly with those higher grades, we hope that we can replicate those through the drilling.
And Bob, there was another very interesting sentence in your press release to generate an internal resource estimate, because I thought that you didn't intend to do a resource estimate at all. What's planned there? Should it be an 43-101 compliant?
No, see, that's the difference, really. I mean, we can do it internally. What makes it? I mean, we can do it to 43101 standards, and I mean, we have three QPs on our team. Myself included, and Jorge, our exploration manager, was formerly the exploration manager with Great Panther and a VP exploration for Exelon. So he was the guy who was overseeing the internal resource estimates for those companies. And when you're in production, I mean, what part of what makes it 43101 is that it's independent. So you're basically hiring someone who's independent of the company to come in and do the resource estimate and write the report, and it has to be done to a certain format and so on. And only when that it meets all those regulatory requirements and you publish it, put it out in the public domain, that's what people typically refer to as a 43101 or a compliant resource estimate. But you would typically do one internally, and but if you don't publish it, then it's not it's not considered 43101. So it can still be done to the same standards, but it's just a question of whether it's published or not. If it's internal, it's obviously not independent, and that's really the key thing. But certainly, we would do it internally, because you need that information in order to move forward to produce a mine plan. You need to have that. And I mean, once you're in production, you don't need to go the independent route. It's you can do it internally. So at any rate, we will be doing a resource estimate with all the drilling that we'll be doing.
Thanks for the clarification. And the final question for today, Bob, when do you expect the first results, and how long do you expect the program to last? How many weeks, month?
Well, it's in terms of how long it lasts. This is the first time drilling this project, first time working with this contractor. So, we'll give them a couple of weeks to get used to the rock and the drilling and so on, and from that we'll be able to better gauge how long it's likely to take. But at this point in time, we're thinking maybe a couple of months to do all the drilling, it'll take the geologist a little while to log the core and split it, sample it, and get it to the assay lab. And then once it's in the lab, it's typically 2 to 3 weeks for turnaround for the assays. So we'll probably start getting results in maybe 4 to 6 weeks from now. And then there'll be that lag throughout the entire program. So starting what that takes us to kind of mid-June, roughly, second half of June, before we start to get results, and then that'll continue through the summer.
Thank you, Bob, for the update. I'm looking forward to hopefully good results with support of still strong precious metals prices. Thank you, and have a good day in the proximity of Vancouver. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Thanks very much, Jan. Same to you. Bye-bye.